All right. Today on the Earn It All podcast, we have Mr. Spencer Bryce from Live Bearded.
Let's go. What's up, boys? How we doing?
What's going on? Dude, I'm doing good. I'm growing my mustache out, trying to get it
I see
to
it.
this level.
It's looking
here
good. I'm glad to see we got two beards sitting across the table. Like beards and muscles. You guys are jacked and you got beards. Like I'm in the right room, I think, right?
You have 1.5 beards.
I mean, it still counts.
I think your assistant said he wouldn't even go on
It was a requirement
if there wasn't a
I'm glad
beard
she
on the
stayed true to
host.
that
You know?
SOP. Yeah.
Dude, well, good, man. We're glad to have you here, man. But before we get started, this podcast today is sponsored by the Earn Your Booze coaching program. We are very excited to launch the Earn Your Booze training program because it's literally unlike anything else out there. This is where we show you how to earn and enjoy the best things in life. And we spent the last 7 years optimizing this method for people that truly want to earn it all in life. We're going to talk about that today. Because with the Earn It All method, you get to earn your booze while hitting your health and fitness goals with top shelf fitness, nutrition, habits, nutrition strategies that match your lifestyle. Yes, even if you drink. Pretty unique. Nobody else really says that. And of course, weekly check-ins, live coaching calls, Q&A, the support from Adam and I and our other coaches and everything. So this is for men and women. If you want to start your journey and finally learn how to earn your booze, go to earnitall.com and we'll show you how to do that. So
Love it.
Dude, it's so cool. Like just talking about that because I've been a customer of yours actually for a long time, Live Bearded.
That's why the beard's looking so good, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have to give some credit where it's due, but I think it's really cool. I think it's on the welcome email when you order something.
Yeah.
It's you guys at a bar with some glasses up.
Yeah, cheers.
And that was like one of the things that really drew me to you guys because one, the products are great, and I use them in my beard and everything. But Live Bearded is not a grooming company in my own words. I know you'll expand upon that because it's always been something more to me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, what does it mean to live bearded? Well, okay, let me back up a little bit. That must mean I'm probably a man because I have a beard.
Yep.
And what does it mean to have a nice looking beard? Oh, I'm trying to take care of myself. Okay, well, if I'm trying to take care of my beard, well, what else should I do? I should probably be clean, be in shape, care about how people see me, present myself. And I picked up on that right away just from the name of your company and just the messaging I saw. And I was like, well, shit, this is the brand I want to roll with for my beard. They also make great stuff here in Arizona. And I'm not trying to just plug the brand away, but that's my point is that like you guys have really created something awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm glad it's felt from the time you go to our homepage or thank you page or whatever, because since day one, we've been super intentional about not just creating and selling a product, but creating a community and bringing men together. I co-founded Live Bearded with one of my best friends, Anthony Mink. We've now been friends for almost 20 years. At the time, it was 10.
No way.
We're like, how can we create a company where we don't want to sell to women. We love women, but we don't know the language. We can't really speak to them. Like, let's just sell to dudes and how we can be 100% authentically ourselves because that's going to be way easier to do day in and day out, right? And it's going to be way more true and authentic. And so we set out to create a community and treat every customer like a brother, as if we've been friends for 10 years. And so since day one, that's been super intentional. And at Live Bearded, we say it's our mission to help beardsmen look, feel, and be their best. Because you said it. When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you can kind of go out into the world and help try to make a greater impact. So we stand to really be a community and a brotherhood and encourage men to just do better, be better, elevate, and evolve who they are, and just always be chasing kind of the man that they could be or aspire to be.
I love it too because beards get a lot of bad stigma sometimes. They're like, oh, it's if you're ever going to describe a hobo or someone who's really scruffy, you probably say he has a beard, But I was like, no, but that's not the case. I think like having a good, well-kept beard really says a lot about you because it does take some work.
Take some patience.
It takes patience. It takes discipline, consistency. A lot of things like the body does to be in shape applies to how this beard because it's not necessarily very easy to keep it looking on point and not looking like a bum.
And there's a fine line where you do kind of look like a bum or you look like, damn, this guy cares about himself. And it's a reflection of the work and the discipline. To your point, I think it's an outward expression of kind of how you value yourself. And that actually doesn't need to take a lot of time in the mirror. You don't need to spend an hour kind of getting ready for the day, but just a couple minutes. We tell guys like it can take 5 minutes, but you can't put a ball cap on your head, right? If you didn't want to style your hair. For your beard, just take care of it a little bit. It's going to show the world that you actually give a damn about your appearance and kind of how you show up as a man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no hat you can put on your beard.
I guess you could wear a mask. But.
You could wear a mask.
Oh, that's true.
which we had to for a while, which is unfortunate.
Especially
if you had a beard that was extra bad.
I don't do that though.
I'm gonna definitely judge you in other ways if you do that.
Yeah,
totally.
So you guys have had Live Bearded for what, 10 years now?
8 years, 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah,
all right, congrats.
Thanks,
that's
man.
great, man. So how did the concept start? I know you talked about being intentional about brotherhood and all that in the beginning, but you were doing real estate, I think, doing some other stuff. And how did it come to mind to like, you know what, I'm going to just kind of upend my life and try to become an entrepreneur?
My dad, I'll never forget. I was like, Dad, I'm going to stop selling luxury real estate and go sell beard oil. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I bet.
We had a vision. So, I mean, basically, I started No Shave November 2015 is the first time I kept my beard like your length, maybe even a little shorter for years. And I grew my beard out long for the first time. And it was this interesting experience to grow your beard long for the very first time.
Yeah.
Because I noticed guys were coming up to me and were like, dude, your mustache is sweet. Like, man, your beard is awesome. And I was like, this is such a weird thing for men to say. Guys don't really compliment each other on too many things unless you're like super fit in the gym. They see that you know maybe something there. Whereas women a lot of times be like, oh, I love your purse or your bag. You're this. They're very forward with their compliments. Men just aren't. They don't really communicate that way. And so I thought it was really interesting that guys were so forward with that compliment or that connection. The beard nod is a real thing. It's kind of a sign of respect. And so I go to Anthony, and he at the time had a lot of experience with Facebook advertising. And I was leaving the real estate, wanted to create some sort of digital company. And I said, bro, have you ever thought about growing a beard or selling beard products? And he's like, no, why would we do that? And I was like, hear me out. This beard trend's happening. I'm growing a beard. There's a lot of guys that are connected. It's an interesting thing. And so we kind of started digging around, and we ran a test, and turned out the beards were getting real popular in 2015 and kind of rode that wave a little bit. And we were intentional about designing it to really create community first. Our whole idea since the beginning was, how do we create a company where we can use the beard products as a Trojan horse, if you will, into a greater conversation? How can we collect guys into our ecosystem and connect guys in brotherhood to then inspire them to then help, really create that community where we can take the conversations much deeper into how to become a better man, how to be a better leader, how to be a better father, how to be better in the gym, how to create discipline and resilience, and like all the like mindset and just, our values that we can kind of instill through our brand that you pick up on when you see. That's like where the real impact and fulfillment comes on our side. Like selling beard products, that's cool, right? But seeing the impact, connecting men together, like that's where the magic really is for us.
Yeah. So Anthony didn't have a beard in the beginning.
Didn't have a beard.
Now, did he ever grow his long? Because it's pretty short now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He'll refer to it. Dude, I love it. So it's amazing when you start hanging out with bearded dudes. The non-bearded guys just suddenly like start growing a beard. It's like very infectious in a good way.
Yeah.
But so I had my long beard, and he started growing. I kept it short, and he started growing it longer. And he refers to it as his beard life crisis, because he's like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I had this big beard because that's what we were doing, but he didn't have confidence with it, and he had this big long beard, and it just wasn't his style. But he was rocking it for the brand, and I totally respect that. And he kept going shorter and shorter until he found a length like yours that ultimately he had confidence. And then we realized it's like, it doesn't matter how big your beard is. It's really like what beard gives you the most confidence that you're going to, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, damn, I look good. Because then I feel good. And again, how you kind of show up in the world with that confidence and how that impacts your relationships, your business, all those other things. And so yeah, he had it long for a little while, groomed it back down. Now he's got it dialed where he likes it.
Yeah. That's a good point. When I started growing mine out, I thought it was crazy. Everyone else thought it was crazy because it was not working very well in the beginning. I had like big old bald patch over here. Like it just wasn't growing, just like a quarter, like no hair whatsoever. And then when I thought it was looking good, I look back on pictures. I'm like, I cannot believe I was in public like that.
We don't know any better.
You don't know any better. Like, yeah, whatever.
You don't know any better.
Yeah. And then like, there's been other periods of time where I look back when I liked how it was, but I realized how long it was. Like, I don't know, probably 5 inches longer than this. And I'm like, oh, damn. But that's not my beard right now, but it was then.
Yeah.
But it's fun, dude. I like having it. And now if I jokingly, but it's kind of true. Like if I lost my beard, like I'd probably just jump off a cliff. Like I just can't do it.
I shaved mine off to launch an electric beard trimmer.
Yeah.
And my now wife had never seen my face ever. Yeah. And I didn't tell her I was shaving it. And I took the trimmer, shaved it, got a bunch of content, showed up at the house. Didn't tell her. I announced like, hey babe, I'm home. She's cooking. So she didn't turn around. I went to kiss her. She jumped like 5 feet because she knew it was me. She registered my voice, but she didn't connect the dots because she literally had never seen my face.
You had to go stay in an Airbnb.
It's amazing. Yeah, she kicked me out for a few weeks until I came back. But
because you did, was that when you did the 100 days of growing?
Yeah. So
and you did the time lapse?
Yep.
That was genius.
Yeah.
I thought that was so cool.
It was a very painful, emotionally difficult process for me. I was like, this is a great idea. It's gonna be awesome. And when it actually came down to shaving it, I didn't realize how much that would have like affected me emotionally. I hadn't seen my face in 8 years. And as a dude, I'm like still thinking like I look like I'm 25 again. I was like, damn, no, I don't look quite the same.
That's a good point. How old were you when you shaved it?
This is it's like 35. Yeah.
Wow.
So it would have been like 28 to 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good point. I imagine if I shaved it now, I'd probably have a hard time for a little bit.
Yeah. So we have a saying that a buddy kind of coined, and he said, having less of a beard doesn't make you less of a man, but not having one just might. So whether your beard is long, for anyone who doesn't have a beard, no judgment at all. But hey, long or short, find what gives you the most confidence.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So how do we get a redhead beard like that to grow out? And
bro, just let it grow.
It
looks great though.
No, it does. It looks
I
good.
like
He
it.
kills
I really liked it when I was telling you before the podcast.
Yeah.
Everybody knows, but I really liked it that length.
Yeah.
It's just, it gets to a 1/8 of an inch longer than this and just stops.
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
There's a real thing called terminal length where it's like your hair only grows to a certain length
Yeah.
genetically, and then it kind of just stops. There's ways you can kind of grow through that with like biotin and vitamin E and certain things,
Yeah.
but we got some stuff we'll send you.
I'm down
See
for
if
all
we,
the hacks. Yeah. I'm down for all the weird shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Snake oils and fucking.
There's a lot of that shit in the market, I will say.
Yeah.
So, you don't have to buy from us. There's a lot of great options out there if you're listening to have a beard, but like there's a lot of snake oil in the industry because
Oh yeah.
everybody popped up trying to sell it for a while there.
And the way that, and this is something I wanted to ask you about too, because the way that especially you guys manufacture everything here in Arizona, like everything's
American made.
everything's American made, and I love
Natural
that
ingredients.
because, and obviously Anthony knows too, like the market today for online e-commerce products is stupid. Like everything comes from China. It's all white labeled. Even some of the biggest brands that like everybody knows, they're white label. You go on Alibaba and you find the white label version of it, and you're like, wait a minute, I thought this was easy. I thought this was like a real thing.
Yeah.
And instead of, the trick is if you like a brand, like if you like, Now Foods, right, for your supplements, go to Alibaba and buy them in bulk. It's the same fucking thing.
It's wild.
Like that's the secret, guys.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving you the secret. It's $2 for your bottle of fucking biotin instead of 40.
Yeah. And I wonder how long that can last because consumers are getting smarter where they're starting to like reverse image search or find stuff through Alibaba. And it's like everything is becoming commoditized, like everything. Like, you can go to Amazon and buy beard oil. Now, the ingredients may be different. The fragrance obviously will be different, but you can buy a kit of 12 products for the price of our one beard oil, but it's coming from China most likely. It's getting synthetic chemicals and shitty ingredients, right? But it is commoditized. So it's like, how do you provide the best product possible, the best service, and then try to find ways to add more value to create a moat to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, that's why even if like Live Bearded popped up on Alibaba or something, I still wouldn't buy it because it's like I don't trust anybody or anything.
We've been knocked off so many times.
Yeah, I'm only going right to the source, and that's it.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. So that's been happening over the years. I get knocked off. People trying to do fake Live Bearded this and that, right?
Yeah,
your products,
which I guess is a compliment when people are trying to knock you off because they're obviously doing something right. But
I found a guy on one of those sites selling Earn Your Booze hats, and I tried to buy all of them from him, but he didn't really have them.
Oh, he just sat at the shop trying to just spam and
selling
collect
for
some money.
like 7 cents a piece or whatever. And I'm like, how many of these do you have?
Yeah, I'll take them all.
It's like 700. I'm like, I'll take all of them.
I can't even manufacture them.
I don't actually have these.
Yeah, totally fake. So, all right, cool. So you find Anthony and you're like, hey man, I want to start selling, beard oil. And he's like, well, all right, cool. I'll grow a beard then, we were into your office the other day and we saw kind of the progression of the packaging and the products and whatnot. So tell us from that perspective, what was it like, starting a business that has a consumable product, putting the first one out, being super proud of it, excited and all that. But then inevitably like, oh, we need to change this or upgrade this or whatever. Like, what's that like on this?
It's continue to fail and iterate over the years. Fortunately, Anthony came in with like a wealth of knowledge on the e-com and paid media side, Facebook ads. So from the beginning, he's like, dude, let's run a free plus shipping offer. This was like direct response back in the day. Everyone was running free plus shipping offers. It's buy this, beard comb and get this beard comb for free, just pay the $4.95 shipping. And then we upsold them to a private label beard oil at the time, just to try to prove and test the market. So we set up some Facebook ads, drove them to a page that said, hey, we want to give you this free beard comb, just cover free shipping, upsold them. And it was a profitable campaign. We were able to get essentially 500 customers within the first couple of days. We funneled those customers into a Facebook group and then bought another 10,000 combs to kind of iterate and do it again. And what we were trying to do is intentionally feed them into a group to where then we can survey and get data on what they really wanted. Because it's easy to think as an entrepreneur, business owner, you have an idea and it's easy to get romantic about the idea and be like, this is the best idea ever. Everyone's going to love this. So great. And then you put it to market and it's like, womp, womp, womp. Like, if you get a 10% win rate on some of your content streamer things, like what you think will be the best oftentimes isn't. You just have to test. And so we're like, how do we test? How do we get guys into a group and then be like, guys, like, what do you want? What fragrances do you want? what type of products do you use? Who are you buying from? Who do you like? What do you like? What do you don't like? And then just using that data to make informed decision on creating a product based on what they were actually saying they wanted.
Yeah.
And so it's like, hey, what do you want? Go create it and then give it to them. So we basically use that to get our starting point, launched with 3 main products, a couple main products and 3 main fragrances. And then we just iterated over time. So we've since day one always been community first, brotherhood first. How do we like actually take feedback from customers and implement it? So we've rebranded, we've reformulated, we've changed fragrances, we've retired fragrances. We just survey our guys and especially our best customers and just ask them what they want, get their feedback, let them get buy-in to the direction of the company. And they're super bought in. They feel like they're along for the journey and they have some influence and say as to what we're doing. So they feel like they're like co-creating it in some ways and really just helps build that bond and community. So yeah, it's just been iteration over the years. We've expanded from beard care into body care. We made a lot of assumption. We've lost our asses on some products. We've had some really big wins, but it's really just like trying to make as many decisions off of data as we can, test small if you can to move quickly, prove a concept, and then kind of roll it out.
What is like you think the top product of all time?
Beard oil. Yeah.
Just
beard oil
oil.
is still just like oil because every guy can use it from your length to stubble to a long beard. It's like the foundation. Guys, it's funny, like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, beards were seen as this like, oh, it's fucking wiry and it's itchy and it's dirty. And it's like, well, yeah, because you wash the hair on your head, you know, you put lotion on your skin, you use conditioner on your hair, but you don't do any of that for your beard. You just like let it run wild and you don't do anything. It's like, no shit, it's going to be coarse because you don't put any conditioner in it. And of course the skin's going to be dry because you're not putting any lotion or anything on it. And you can't put that through the beard. So we really just solved a problem that's been existing for decades. And people were like, oh, this is so like frilly or whatever. It's like, no, it's just proper hygiene. It's just been the evolution of hygiene. And just helping guys look and feel better.
I'm not too surprised because beard oil is kind of the only thing I use. Like wash sometimes or like I just conditioner every once in a while. But without the beard oil, I can tell like if like it doesn't sit the same way, it doesn't feel the same way, like it doesn't look the same way. Like it's so simple though.
Well,
like,
and the beard itch, like if you're ever growing it out, a lot of guys never complaints like, dude, my face is on fire, it's itching. It's like your skin is just really dry.
Right.
Like your skin's just really dry. Put some oil on it and moisturize it and it's going to go away almost instantly. So it just solves a simple problem. Dude,
I love it. So you guys have been killing it for a while now. And we've been talking, you know, we had lunch and some good talks and stuff. And like I started this thing off, Live Bearded is so much more than grooming products. So like what else is coming for Live Bearded? And like, what else does like the community, like from your perspective, like what do they do? Like, cause it's way more.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's something we've been really trying to process and figure out what that next evolution is for Anthony and I and for Live Bearded. As I mentioned earlier, we were intentional about creating a community first in brotherhood. Like how can Live Bearded and beard products be the Trojan horse to bring men together? So then the second level of that is like, okay, now that we're together, like what the fuck are we talking about? Like, how do we encourage and inspire? So we're trying to get really clear on how we can take our influence and our men in our community to really do some positive shit for their lives and knowing the halo or the ripple effect of how that impacts their families, their businesses, like just out into the world. And so for us, I think it's going to revolve around a handful of pillars. Like we're passionate about fitness. We're passionate about, constant never ending improvement. So having, developing your mindset. We're passionate about really masculinity and what that looks like in the world today. It's a very different landscape in terms of how masculinity is viewed today than where it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago.
Or anytime throughout history.
And so I think and leadership and how that kind of all intertwines together. And just, I think Anthony and I can speak for him for sure in saying that we're both really passionate about how we can help build and develop leaders, how we can help inspire men and help bring them together and help them really just learn or help them become better men and learn what it means to be a man in the world today. So that's kind of the evolution and how we integrate those different pillars, if you will, to just help men become better leaders, to become better fathers, become better husbands, better entrepreneurs, healthier, more vital and have energy and just kind of all encompassing.
Well, I love it. And I wrote down a note here. Really, I think most men just need to go back to understanding the basics of being a man. So we have this book here that we're giving you by our friend Jack Donovan called The Way of Men. And this essentially talks about our role as men throughout history and how it started and how it's evolved. And then takes a look at what it is today. And there's like 4 or 5 more books after this one that are all just as phenomenal. But one thing I loved about this was just getting back to the basics of like, if you think about if the 3 of us we're going to go set up our own little thing in the woods. Like there's a new area that had never been explored. No one had ever been to, right? What we need to do essentially is establish a perimeter, light a fire, fire in the dark, and then figure out how we're going to protect that perimeter. And then once we kind of get stable, okay, now we probably want to expand it. Like now we need more, we're growing, and now Andy White is with us, and now there's more, and there's kids and the things. But at the basic level, like it's our role to essentially help establish, protect, and expand, quote unquote, the perimeter, which today could be as simple as the house.
Yeah.
You got a wife and kids, or you live by yourself or whatever it is. Like this is your little castle, know, and it's crazy how that seems to get lost on so many people. And it's even like looked down on so many people, like that. No, you're dangerous. You're capable. You're a provider. You're a protector. Well, like, well, yes, I am. But unfortunately, or fortunately, because we've identified it now and you guys are doing a great job with it, like a lot of guys need to hear that and be reassured that, yes, this is who I am. It's cool to be a man.
Yeah.
It's great to be a fucking man. And this is my role. This is what we do.
Yeah.
And it's always evolving and changing, especially as society gets stranger and more technology and just, it's always moving. But I think we need to make sure that we don't lose that.
Yeah.
We need to understand that like, there's always going to be men, there's always going to be women. And like, the perimeter might not be in a forest with fire in the dark anymore, but we still need to have that mentality.
100%. I recently had my first child, baby boy, New Year's Eve last year. So he was 9 months. Thank you.
Awesome.
And so my view on fatherhood and masculinity has like been radically shifted since that, because now you just, as a parent, like you can't help but just see the world a little bit differently. And as I'm kind of thinking through multiple steps ahead of raising him and how I want to equip him to be ready for the world as a young man transitioning into manhood, I've like done a lot of reflection on this, and there's no, in our kind of modern society today in the States anyways, there's no rite of passage, if you will, of what it means to be a man. Like who teaches you, and at what stage are you considered a man? Is it when you lose your virginity? Is it when you're 16 and can drive? Is it when you're 18 and can go to war? Like when is it? And it's not really any age or like, to me, it is really when you learn what it means to be a man, and then somebody there's a skill transfer where you go through an experience either through your own shit and then mentorship through a father or a father figure. And that doesn't really exist in our society at all. Like guys aren't really taught how to be a man. And so they go to social media for inspiration, and they see all the shit going on. And it's like so many conflicting messages out there on the values they should live by, the standards they should have, like the responsibility, the ownership they should take, and the maturing as a boy into manhood. And it doesn't really exist in our society.
Yeah, especially now, since like 70+% of households are single mother households.
Mm-hmm.
Like the father is not in the picture anymore, like 70% of the time, which is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy
to think about. And growing up, I grew up without a father, so I can attest to the difficulties that come up that you don't even realize, and some people never realize. Some guys never realize the things that they didn't get.
Yeah.
From not having a father figure in their life. I figured it out in my 30s, and it was hell. It was 30 years of just making all the mistakes of not understanding how fucking life, the world, what even a man was supposed to do. Like it took personal development. It took seeking out role models. It took stuff like that to figure it out. And I had to like actively do it. It wasn't something that just kind of happened, like fell on me or whatever, especially this day and age. I think social media can be a help. It can kind of point you in the right direction if you find the right, role models and stuff. I mean, I met Justin on social media,
totally,
but it's such a problem now. And I love the fact that that you're a father now. Like that's amazing, dude. That's so awesome. I think that it's a big problem. It's a big problem like culturally, and what you guys are doing at Live Bearded, what we're doing at Earn Your Booze and Earn It All is like, it's a cultural shift that we're trying to make on a very minuscule level to, even if we could inspire one guy to go do it with his group of men, right?
Yep.
And it's like, if we could just start doing that, obviously we're a little bit behind right now. Like we're decades behind on where we should be with this, but it's a cultural shift that needs to happen. And
And I think guys are craving. I mean, you guys probably see from the events that you put on the fitness side or in the retreats that you guys are now doing, like dudes are craving this.
They really are. We've trained a lot of guys for fitness and mindset. Dude, a lot of those guys, if they need to get in like great shape because they're out of wild shape, that's wildly out of shape,
Yep.
they start there and they make good gains. But it's a natural, we've seen it so many times now, it's a natural progression to be like, okay, what's next? Can I do something in person? And or I think really, how do I test myself? Like I've got these new muscles and this capability. I feel good, but how do I know if it's worth anything? Can I actually carry someone? Do I actually know how to fight? Is it worth anything? Can I go out and kill a deer? We need to be tested, because it sucks to just train. So even though we love what we do, like training, physical fitness, like we also need to test yourself.
Yeah. I love
that.
I love that.
Like train, test, learn, tweak potentially, and then repeat. And you just keep going. I think that's how we get better. And that's a big reason why we launched our True North men's retreat. We do it in Sedona. We got another one coming up in January. Love for you guys to be there.
Yeah, I love it.
But that's why.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like, dude, while we were there, like, it was all men. I think we had like 22 guys, I think, for the first one. We're going to cap the next one at 30, and that'll be where we stay. But it was really interesting just to see everyone is very different from all around the country, different walks of life, different income levels, different everything. They're all totally different. Beards, no beards, all that.
We'll change that.
Yeah. You got to have a beard to come to the next one. But it was really, this is something I didn't even really understand that I would experience, was watching guys kind of like you said, realize different things about themselves and like, oh, this is what it means. Like we had one guy, Robert, who's a great friend of ours. We work with him now and he trains with us.
Too.
Great beard.
Yeah, great beard.
But we did this thing. We went down by the river and we were wrestling in not mud, but the soft dirt next to the river. And he's watching, and other guys, they're going down. Some guys are getting tapped out and stuff, but it's all friendly. Everything's cool. No one's mad. But he's watching. And inside of him, he was like, man, I want to do this. But he didn't want to say it. He's just like, but he's a big dude. Like, I don't want to wrestle him. He's a big dude, strong, but he's just like, man, and eventually he said something like, all right, cool, Robert, let's go. You're up. Yep. And dude, he went down there. He had never wrestled before. So Adam does wrestle and he showed him, here, put your hand on my neck, do this, now push, and started getting him going. Once he got the hang of it, Adam's like, uh-oh, okay.
Oh, shit. Gotta lock in here.
Yeah. But we were leaving. So we did another thing. We did a sweat lodge, which is super freaking cool with our Native American friends. But anyways, we get back in the van and we're going back to the property we're staying at for the retreat. And Robert's like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And you could tell he was sincere about it.
Unlocked.
And I was like, really? Yeah, he completely unlocked. He's like, as soon as I get home, I'm finding a jiu-jitsu gym or something. He's like, I know now that I need to have that in my life. I need to use my body. I need to wrestle. And he was almost insane with how great he felt by unlocking like that. It's and that's all it took.
Dude, think about the men nowadays. Like, when was the last time, and for anybody listening too, think about it. When was the last time you actually like physically, like, I'll use the word fought, right?
Yeah.
And it's like even playful, like, dude, growing up as boys, like we fucking fought all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was fun. We wrestle all the time, throw each other down the hills.
That's what boys do. And then somewhere along the line, we lose it.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, we lose it. And it was so cool to watch that in real time. It was Robert's in his 40s and we locked up, and as soon as he like felt like getting pushed against, I felt his whole body just go, and it, like he started smiling. I was like, oh shit,
Dude, I love it.
And we don't have anything like that. Like,
no, I love it.
We don't, doesn't exist.
Yeah, and there's so many other things. I'll just give you a couple other examples, and this is why now we're doubling down on these things at these retreats. Is like we had some guys come out from Method Endeavors. Their podcast released today, actually. Former guy worked tech team with the SEALs. Another guy's a ranger. Like, they're just extremely good at what they do with weapons tactics and clearing houses and all that. So they brought out a lot of cool weapons, and they were showing all of our guys stuff. Yeah. Some of the guys were literally handshaking, even though they were fake. There's no rounds in them. Like, it's all, and it was all super safe, and they knew that, but they were just like, they hadn't been around that. Mm-hmm. And seeing these guys with their freaking crazy, freaking silenced weapons with tape all over them and stuff, and they're moving, they're like, it's like, oh, there's a level to this. Even if I have a 9mm at home and I shoot the target, that's way different than what I see these guys doing. Especially with a little special ops dog running between his legs and stuff. And, but that, dude, so many other guys unlock. And the
power of that is so so intense because you're talking about little micro wins, but little wins create momentum, and the momentum will help create bigger wins.
Yeah.
And so you're just starting that cascading domino effect of these guys like unlocking, be like, fuck, I'm gonna take this home. And then with accountability and follow through, then that starts opening up and unlocking other areas. And they just like, as a dude, you can't, like, I believe then you just get addicted to how do I just keep throttling this? And when you surround yourself with a community of accountability, because I think that's like a big thing for just human nature, is it's easy in that setting to be like, this is the best thing. And you go to a conference and you learn things. You go to, and it's like you're so amped, and then you go home into your normal like context and circumstance, and you just either forget it, the motivation wears off. So that's why community like what you guys are building is so powerful, because then the accountability factor for the follow through to like keep that momentum. Because if you can stack those little wins to really build the momentum, like, I mean, the impact that you can make on these guys is real.
I made a post the other day about this actually, and it was about fitness, but this goes for any type of like any type of big win or any type of you know moment in your head that's like a like a bomb or whatever. It's like, oh, aha moment. It doesn't happen in a day, a week, a month, a year, 10 years. It's an instant. It happens in an instant. You decide to get healthy in an instant, and then it's a decision. And then every decision after that is in line with that decision. And it's just keeping your focus narrowed down to that instant that is going to create massive change over time. And I think that we look at it the wrong way, especially in fitness. People look at it the wrong way. They think, where can I be in 90 days? Like, who cares? What are you going to do today? Like, what's the decision you're going to make today? Who cares about 90 days from now? Who cares about 100 days from now? Who cares about 10 years from now?
Inputs.
What decision are you going to make right this second? And it's the accountability piece is huge, because it's like keeping those guys in that narrow mindset of development. And I want to be, we had a couple guys reach out to us and say, I'm trying to be better for the next one. I'm coming to, like, they're already coming to the next one. They're like, I'm trying to be I'm trying to be in better shape. I'm trying to be in my marriage and all this stuff that, I talked about. And like, I'm trying to be better for the next one. And it's like, if you just keep that narrow focus, and that's, the accountability piece is like, even for fitness, I can give somebody a perfect program, perfect nutrition. I can tell them exactly what to do. I can come cook for them. But if they don't have the will, and that will comes from that instant decision, and that's where that comes from. And it's like, if you can keep that will with a group of guys like that, I mean, that's how we change the culture. That's how we change the fucking world. That's 100%. How we change the landscape of men.
I love that. I love it.
I want to talk about what's on your shirt and what is on my wristband and my other wristband. One of them being one that I made, one of them being one that you and Anthony made. And it's action over words. So I think it's pretty interesting that we both did it the exact same way too. It's so
the same
crazy.
way and almost the same font.
Yeah.
So we go to lunch the other day, and we go back to the office after lunch and look at your wrist, and you show. And I thought it was just ours, because we literally give away we give away free wristbands with every order, just as a way to instill our values to our customers. So I legit thought it was ours. So I'm like, oh, dude, you're rocking it. That's sick.
Right.
Meanwhile,
you're like, wait yours.
I was like, I didn't connect the dots.
Oh no, we do the same thing.
I know you do the same thing. I was like, holy shit. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, going back to the beard, it's all about, to us, it's about community. It's about values. And so actions over words is one of our core values as a company. And we try to instill that in our content. We try to instill that in our messaging, obviously weave it through our apparel, and obviously how we lead. Right. Yeah. And so we believe that it's critical for men and for everyone to let their actions speak louder than their words. It's easy in today's society, especially. It's like social media is such a powerful tool, and it's so incredibly helpful and beneficial if used the right way. But it's also like, there's a lot of people that use it as a highlight reel, and there's a certain way, like when the camera's on or whatever, and they're fucking, a shady person when the camera's off, and their values and standards don't align with who they project themselves to be. And it's like, that's so backwards. It's like, who you are behind the scenes is what makes all the difference. Who you are when nobody's watching, the discipline, the work ethic, like your values and standards, when there's no crowd or there's nobody watching, like that makes you who you are. Totally. And so we try to make sure that that's like instilled in our messaging to our audience.
And this actions over words thing is such a strong concept that it goes deeper also, in my opinion, because we talked about declining testosterone, another time we were talking, and all the things we were just talking about, what we do at True North retreats and stuff. Like, I think one of the reasons why testosterone is on the decline, and Adam can talk all day about, endocrine disruptors and food colors and preservatives and all that stuff. But I think it's also that we're not tested. A lot of guys are not training. They're not They're not providing, they're not protecting, and the testosterone is just not as needed.
Yeah.
And that's why I think if people would do more of this, more action over words, like, okay, yeah, I'm training my body. Let me go test myself. Let me wrestle. Let me learn how to use a gun.
Yeah.
Let me get punched. Let me punch. Let me skin a deer, stuff. If we did more of the stuff that we talked about, especially where we came from as men, I think naturally our testosterone levels would just be up, and they'd be up there
by default, 100%.
but we're not using ourselves. We're not using ourselves to our anywhere near our true potential.
Definitely.
Like we're men, but I mean,
and that's the balance living in modern society where we have all these luxuries and technology to make everything easy. Like you can have food delivered to your door and a couple swipes on your phone. Like we have all the luxuries in the world that make it easy to be soft, right?
Yeah, the body adapts to whatever environment and situation it's in. It's so, and I say this all the time, it's so adaptable that even if you're overweight and like you have all these problems and comorbidities and sickness and all this stuff, don't be mad at your body because it's doing exactly what you're asking it to do.
Yeah.
You're asking it to be overweight because you have low activity and you feed it garbage. Like you're asking it, your thyroid to be fucked up because you're giving it these things. You're asking your testosterone to be low because you don't do those things and you use bullshit products on your body and you eat crap and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're asking it to do this stuff and
it's listening.
And it's listening.
It's doing
it.
Cool.
The body is so it's so crazy
wild.
how adaptable your body is. And I think if more people understood that, they would also realize how adaptable it is in the other way too. So as soon as you start changing the inputs, the body will start to change.
Yeah.
Immediately it will change. It's not like a couple months down the road, it just starts happening. It's like, no. If you make good decisions today, the body starts changing today.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's new stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you are eating, standard American bullshit diet, you have a very specific like gut microbiome and it's designed, yes, it's negative, but it's designed to eat bullshit standard American diet stuff, right? When you change that and go healthy whole food diet, you're going to have gut dysbiosis, you're going to have distress, like you're going to have diarrhea, all kinds of stuff because your gut has to change first. It's like, the point is that the body is so adaptable that yes, if you change the environment, your hormones change, your physiology changes, your mindset changes, like with a couple of environmental changes, putting action over words, doing some hard stuff, understanding the stuff that's in that book by Jack about what we're actually supposed to do, and a lot of this crap is demonized now, especially in this day and age, toxic masculinity and all that fucking garbage. And it's like, what type of society do you want? Like what type of thing do you want here? Do you want a society where there's no men and there's no testosterone? It's like, I don't want to see that.
No, I don't want that.
I mean, literally today, Iran is now bombing Israel, like in the heart of and I mentioned that not for any, war or political reason, but because the world's a crazy place and we need men.
Yep.
We need very strong, confident, capable, dangerous men all over the place. Even though that's happening in the Middle East right now, like it doesn't mean it's going to stay there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like we need us.
There's a guy who wrote a book called Strong Men. His name's Stefan Arno. Arnio. He's dead now, but he had a theory, and it was an 80-year theory. And you can do the studies on this, and they've hypothesized that it's true. Every 80 years for the last thousands of years since we've had since ancient Rome, since every ancient civilization, right? Think about thousands of years ago. It's an 80-year cycle of high testosterone men, developing a amazing civilization out of violence. Mm-hmm. And then the 80 years after that, it's a decline. Mm-hmm. And then immediately another high testosterone men, resets the whole system. And it's 80 years. And we're right in the midst of those 80 years. Yeah. Cause it's like, you think about World War I, World War II, and then now we're right in the middle of that. And, it's nothing new. Like our society isn't anything new now. Think about ancient Rome, like the same thing happened. We became fat and happy, bred in circuses, endocrine disrupting bullshit they were eating. They were, drinking too much wine. They were, being weird. And then all of a sudden they started to get weird with gender. And this is true. And every civilization that's fallen, it's been, in a 380-year cycle. So it's 300 years. It's 380-year cycles of that until the civilization fails.
Is he the same author who did hard times create strong men.
That's
strong
what I'm talking
men
about.
Create
Yes.
good
Yeah.
times. Good times
Dude.
create weak men.
Mhm.
Weak men create hard times.
My favorite
Cycle.
book
Just keeps
of all
going.
time.
Cycle.
That book is insane.
Yeah.
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 Where do you think we are right now?
Rest in peace. I think we are. I mean, the United States is at the end of its 300 years, you know, and we're at the tail end of our last 80 years. So it's like, unfortunately, we're in a really shitty time right now. And, you know, we look at the wars overseas, the fact that fucking people are cutting their dicks off. We don't know what bathroom to use. Like, there's all kinds of like gender crap coming out.
Yeah.
People are coloring their hair blue and saying that they're a fucking unicorn. What, like, we're confused.
Extreme.
We're really confused, you know? And the same thing happened in ancient Rome. The same thing happened. Like, if you study history, which is crazy, if you actually study history, not history on the internet, but history in like an actual, like a book, like a leather bound book, pre-World War II book, before fucking, what's his name? Edward Bernays came out with propaganda.
Yeah.
If you read history from ancient civilizations before that, they all talk about the same thing. This was the fall of civilization when these things happened. And it's like, it's not a clone, but it's like a cousin, right? History doesn't repeat itself, but what is it? History doesn't repeat itself, but it mimics itself. So it's like, it won't happen the exact same way, but it's pretty close. Yeah.
Dude, we are exactly in it. World War II started 85 years ago. World War I was 110 years ago. Like, so if that holds true, I mean, we're there.
Yeah. We're there,
which is unfortunate for
Think about Vietnam.
Vietnam
was like the last.
Yeah.
Vietnam was like the last. If you go to like Vietnam age, like that was kind of the last. Like when our guys got home from Vietnam, there was a shift in, you know, how we felt about stuff like that. And then ever since then, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, and all these things. It's not like a on purpose, right? But this is just human nature.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it works. We industrial farming, and we're paying scientists off to say that sugar is not a problem and it's saturated fat. Like, we're doing all the same things. It's like it's crazy if you actually step back and look at it from a like logical standpoint. You're like, fuck, like, we're right in it. Like,
yeah. So, I mean, that tees up kind of my next question for you, Spencer, as, you know, you've been in business for over a decade for yourself, right? Yep. You know, doing various things, but live bearded now for 8-something years. Family guy, you got kids, the whole 9 yards. And ever since I've known you, which has been a couple of years now, you're in phenomenal shape all the time. And so, like, what are you doing personally, like, as a man who's leading a company, leading a family, is aware of what's going on in the world, even though you've been off social media for 5 years, which is it 5 years?
5 years.
Which is amazing, by the way.
Wow,
I actually think that's a positive. You
Yeah.
probably know more of what's happening in the world than that.
I certainly know myself better.
Yeah, you know, yeah, exactly. So what do you do to ensure that, like, that you know, stay sharp and you're at the, you know, at the level you need to be?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think intentionality just with everything. Like, as a father, as an entrepreneur, business owner, I mean, as we get old, you just have to be super selective with your time and how you're investing it, and really viewing it as not I'm spending my time, but how you're investing it. Because if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so I've been hypercritical the last several years of every single minute of every single day, so that I can just be as efficient as possible, is like the first layer of that. And then also be as effective as possible. So making sure I'm working on the right things, like move the needle the most. Like, we all have the same amount of time in the day. Like, how much we can get done is going to be a reflection of how you're prioritizing and like how efficient you are, like what you're actually doing. So, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty dialed. I fortunately have an amazing wife who cooks amazing food. So I don't have to worry about meal prep. We got a pretty good system to make that super efficient, so I can eat clean 80% of the time. So I can have the balance of enjoying a cocktail from time to time. And but yeah, just manage my schedule super intense. I'm up at 4 a.m. I try to read every single day, consume podcasts, and just always be learning. I think we always have to be students forever. And I try to invest that learning into different areas of my life that I want to be well-rounded. It can't always be business. It needs to be relationships with my wife and my family. It needs to be, my nutrition and health. So constantly learning and trying to evolve there, and just being ruthless with my time from 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's just like back to back. I've just run pretty hard. But the one thing I'll say, especially as a father and a family man, like, I am the most ruthless with my time with my family, because that is a priority to me above anything and everything else. So I don't You know, I don't talk to my wife a ton throughout the day, but when I walk through the door, that's when my energy level goes through the roof. That's when I'm like my most energetic and excited, is because I get to walk through the door, see my wife, hang out with my son, and like be 100% there with them. And it's amazing what you can do with quality of time with intention, right? If we're having this amazing conversation in an hour, we could spend 3 hours together, but we could be, you know, on our phones or distracted or whatever, and not nearly get the depth and connection that you can have in 20 minutes or 30 minutes with deep intention. And so everything that I try to do like throughout the day, if I'm working on something, it's like, it's 100% of my focus and nothing else matters in that moment. And then kind of move on to what's next.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that helps answer it.
No, it does. And you've been lifting, as far as I can tell, forever too, right? So
Yeah.
how much has fitness played into your success?
Yeah, it's dude, there's so many parallels you can pull from fitness, right? I think ultimately it's like creating habit and discipline, and you can apply like the work ethic. It's become just part of my identity and my standards of like, I am a healthy, active person. Like, I'm not just like, I'm going to go to the gym. It's like, no, that's who I am. Like, I've just trained for so long that it's such a part of how I want to live in my identity that it doesn't become a question of like, oh, fuck, like I'm a little tired. I really want to work out today. It's like, no, I'm going to go work out because that's what I do, you know? And of course you got to listen to your body and you got to have recovery days and proper nutrition, but like, ultimately it's just a commitment you make, I think. And it becomes part of your identity. I think you can apply that towards other areas. Like, I'm a loyal and faithful husband. I am an authentic, genuine friend that's going to support, like, you identify as that. And then it's going to help kind of, show up in that way.
That's a great way to put it for fitness, especially and that's what we try to instill people in the Earn Your Booze coaching program and our Earn It All Top Shelf program too, is this is not like a program to help you get to somewhere. This is a lifestyle change. This is an identity.
It's not over
shift.
After 90 days.
It's not over.
It's not over.
It's like, I get these messages a lot, and I love that you said this. I get the message of, oh man, I can't do my workout today because I don't have this thing, or I don't have this. And then you slowly start to see, the way I program for people and the way I coach people is they'll start to see in, about 30, 60, 90 days, they're like, hey, I got my workout in anyways today. I couldn't make it to the gym, but I just did a HIIT workout. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Fucking got it done.
That's exactly.
Got it done. No excuse.
And I don't say anything to them.
Yeah.
I'm just like, yes. Like,
get some fucking burpees in.
Yep.
Do something. You don't need anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just I'm going to work out today.
And then when that becomes so part of your identity, then you start molding your life to make it easier, right? So like recently I built a home gym because to me, time is super valuable right now. I don't have a lot of it and it's spread thin. So it's like, I'm not just buying a home gym just to work out. It's like I'm buying time back with my family. So now I wake up and by 4:30, my wife and I are training and working out. Little guy's sleeping. It's like, I don't have the commute. I just save 30 minutes.
Yep. Eventually 30 minutes is work out with you.
100%. You can watch us on the weekends. You've seen us get after it. And it's like, you ingrain it in and you mold your life around what's important to you. And so you can modify your schedule and make it work. But
yeah, I mean, time is everything. I totally understand that. Like, I wish there was more time. And you really nailed something. Like tonight, for example, like I get so excited that I drive faster to go home.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear that, Daddy.
Fucking amazing.
Like in the whole
fucking
thing,
amazing.
You smell food and it's just like, because most of the time when I'm home now, it's like it's me. But when I get home later, sometimes it's like when everyone's there, it's like, oh, dude, this is like the coolest thing ever.
Fucking everything. And it should be.
Yeah.
And it should be. I think you have to prioritize your relationship and your family. If you have a family, that's a priority for you, with the same intention and work that you put into any business or anything. And I remember a tipping point in my relationship with my now wife when we were just dating. And she's like, what's like the 3-year, 5-year plan for our relationship? Like, you have all this intention with the business, where you're going, where revenue's going, where customers are going, what you're going to do, this and that. Like, you've thought it all out. Like, what is that plan for your personal life and for us? And I was like, oh, fuck. I don't know.
Like, we're already together. What more do you want?
But it's so true, though. And it's like how much intention you put into planning all those things. Like, if you put the same level of intention into your relationship, like, you can then go and work it backward and say, what do I need to do? Who do I need to become to be the man to develop and build this in my relationship and in our family dynamic? And you start fucking working the plan. But it takes the intentionality of like really prioritizing and be like, no, I'm going to go build this. I'm going to go put in the work to fucking build it.
And quality time, like you said, like, for example, like I've had, a business going of some sort for coming up on 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's easy to kind of get lost in your home life and relationship if you're so focused on doing something that's never been done before and all the stress and all this stuff and all that. But like we had our 11-year anniversary just a couple of weeks ago.
Sweet.
And we thank you. We just went out for a night downtown, and we went and had a couple cocktails, had a nice dinner. And literally the coolest part about it was just us.
Fucking sweet.
You know, because sometimes like we'll go out with people and it's fun, but it's like you share a conversation and all this. Like, no, it was just her.
Yeah.
Just
That's
us.
amazing.
And just that little bit, just that one night was like, oh, damn. Like, okay, it really did something for us.
Yeah.
You know, so even if you don't get every single day, this is what, you know, we tell guys a lot is like, just try to do a weekly date night.
It's so important.
Like, and just that
but
alone.
with the intention and the depth and the real
Yes.
true connection. You're not distracted. You're not this, like you're locked in, you're right here.
Yeah.
Like, that amount of connection can be like, there's no way you're going to have equal balanced time for all the things in life ever. Like
Never.
there's
Nor should you. Yeah.
Nor should you.
Yeah.
But you can make up for some of that with the intention and the quality and the time that you're with that person or whatever. And so
Totally.
it's super important. And one thing I'll add is I think also as men, like tying this back into health and wellness, that's why it's so fucking important to take care of yourself and be physically fit. So you have the energy to go drive. Like if I wasn't fit and didn't have energy because I have a little child at home, I'm not sleeping super, all the things, like I can make all the excuses, be like, oh, I fucking just worked a 14-hour day. Like I'm tired. I'm gonna go check out and fucking, you know what I mean? It's like, no, I have the energy because of the work I'm putting in and the discipline I have to show up and still be able to have the energy to be with my family.
Man, that's a
Like,
great
none
point.
of it works without health and wellness. None of it.
Dude, great point. Back to that exact weekend I was telling you about. We've been extremely busy the past couple months building out a new app and doing all sorts of business crap, you know, that we always have to do. But especially the last couple months has been really a build phase. It's not a maintain. It's been really building something. So it's been hard. You know, it's a lot of work. But that day that I was telling you about that we went out that night was also in the morning, my daughter's 6-year-old birthday party. So really, literally jumping and flying around Sky Zone, cutting cake, doing all this, playing, and then
I did a backflip.
sweet, and then and then we dropped, and then she went to go play for the day, and that's when we did our date night. Yeah. If I didn't have the energy for that, like what the heck? But no, I was more fired up than ever, and I was just like, I forgot we had a birthday. I forgot we had done all these, this build, and dude, it was great.
And we were having more fun at Sky Zone than the kids were.
I'm sure. We're all big kids to some degree, you know. Yeah. But to your point about action, it's like testing and putting into action and like proving out that all this work is for the good. Like it's actually being applied into your life, and that's how like you see it through those things.
Yeah, and I think a way to make sure that we have energy for stuff like that is you have to go beyond it. You know, so like that's why I think it's important to go do big hikes, to go on hunts, do wrestling, like learn how to get past like being scared of a gun, like drive fast, you know, like do skydive, do these things, because when we scale back from that, like what I just described with that weekend with the birthday and the anniversary is easy. You know, but if that's your max, like chances are you're like, oh man, I'm barely making it through. Like, no, I want to have a weekend like that where I need to be leading the family and the kids and the wife all weekend, and it's easy.
It's easy.
I don't want to just barely get
it's charging
it.
you up.
Oh, right? Fired up.
Charging you up.
Yeah. And like, even though like we went out and had a couple handfuls of drinks and like next day I was good. Yeah. Like he's taught us how to never be hungover again. And hey, it works.
I need that hack, bro.
Hashtag science.
Got
you know?
Got you.
I need that one.
Got you. Again, you know, that it's a great point though. Again, with the, never being hungover, it's putting a little bit of intentionality behind, we live an 80-20 lifestyle, and we're putting so much intention into the 80%. Let's put some intention into the 20% too, not just go off the rails.
100%.
So if you do it the right way, you could go and have you can go to Rocky Point for the weekend, not be hungover any of the days you're there, not feel like a piece of shit and be bloated when you get done, and do whatever you want. Yeah. Put a little bit of intentionality behind, the week or two leading up to it. A little bit of intentionality while you're there, what you're doing while you're there, what you're eating and stuff like that. Just a little bit.
Dude, that's so powerful. Because so many guys I feel like will go, they'll have their cheat meals and their booze, and then they come back and then they have the physical fatigue and the
like
hangover.
They're starting over.
But then there's the emotional baggage that then comes like, fuck, I just start over, and then that lingers for a while.
And now Sunday's ruined, and it's just
Now that little tiny bit of intentionality behind it makes that 20% so much better, so much more enjoyable. Number one, because I know I'm going to go out and have, I said it on a podcast the other day, I was like 4, 5, 6 old fashions, a cigar, and I'm going to wake up at 5:30 and go train just the same as I would. Yeah. Maybe my energy levels might be a little lower because of course my sleep's going to be a little bit distressed and things like that, but it's not going to be as impacted as it would be if I didn't do it with intention. If I wasn't, supplementing the right way the week before, if I wasn't hydrating the right way, if I wasn't, making sure that I'm getting enough protein, especially more protein on the days before and the days that I'm drinking. Like, usually when you go out and drink, you're eating a bunch of carbs and shit. If you make sure that you get a gram per pound of your protein that day, like you're cutting your hangover probability in half just by doing that.
That's the secret. I mean, I
That's
know
part
the
of it. That's part of
protein
it.
is part of it. Yeah.
It's
But
part of it.
let me tell you what
yeah.
I had that. I'll go back to this night again.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and because it's like I get to eat exactly what I want. We bought this big old charcuterie board with like all the meat, all the cheese, apricots, like all this yummy stuff, like raisin bread, like just amazing.
Yeah.
And then we had a huge ribeye that we split with mashed potatoes.
Perfect.
And I think that's probably all we had. Like it was a lot of food. You
Yeah.
know, it had some veggies on the side, but I still had old fashioned. I had margaritas. I had all the things I wanted. I was drinking water in between. I was doing what we say to do, and like I ate exactly what I wanted. I wasn't even wanting a fucking cake or I don't even know, cheese crisp or any bullshit. Like I ate high quality, amazing, delicious food. And that's what my body wants. So it's like, it's crazy because like people are like, oh, it's not fun. And you know, but they're going out
You
and
enjoyed it
having,
just as much.
they're drinking this light beer and shots and pizza and crap. Like no wonder you feel like crap. Like I'm eating and drinking good stuff and my body knows what to do with it.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it. I love
it's
it.
crazy.
Again, a little bit of intentionality.
It goes a long way, bro.
And you
On
can
everything.
You can use a little piece of the protocol. Like it's a scale, right?
Yeah, of course.
My anti-hangover protocol, it's a scale for sure because it's do one or two things and minimize the risk, or do the whole protocol and you won't be you'll feel better the next day. Like you'll have more energy. You'll be like, oh, you'll be charged up because you decreased your stress. You fucking checked out for a little bit. You got away from your phone for a little bit, things like that. So, with everything, it's a sliding scale, but the intentionality behind it, I think is money. And the fact that you said that was,
love it.
And I'm going to guess here, Spencer, that's probably what has allowed you and enabled you to do other businesses as well. Because we go to Reset, which is another business of yours. You have a 5K coming up. And I want to hit that analogy one more time. Like, it's not that you and Anthony just crush Live Bearded and you're like maxed out and like that's where your capacity is. You're like, no, we also do other things. Yeah. We have these other things going on. Because once you expand your capability and capacity up to that level, it makes it all the other things be easier.
Yeah, 100%.
And
like, look, we aren't here without the help of our team. We got the best team at Bearded. We have the best people in our corner that a lot of them been with us for multiple years that have been on this journey. And so
guys and girls now.
Yeah. For the first like several years, like bearded dudes only. And then we like realized we're like, shit, we're like missing out on a lot of talented people by not having women with us. So now we got some women. They're awesome. But like, we want to be able to do those things without having the team, without like elevating ourselves, delegating some things. So like huge shout out to our team to making any of that even possible at all. But yeah, as you keep ascending through on your entrepreneurial journey and like learning more, it's like, how do you assemble the right people around you to like have this big vision and dream and then bring the right people along? Because there's nothing better to me. Like I love winning and I want to go win and I will continue to win. But it's way the fuck more fun when you're winning with people that you care about and you can high five and celebrate. Like to me, there's nothing more fulfilling than to be on that journey with people. And so that's with my partners, with Anthony and with Tim, with our team, like everybody on this journey, like all the people we align with, like let's just fucking all go win and go celebrate together and just make positive impact.
I love it. And you have a 5K coming up that we're going to be running.
Running with the beards, baby.
7 days, right?
Beards are 6 days? Not required. It's October 19th, Saturday, October
7th in my head.
We got a couple weeks. Yeah,
that's right.
Shit, is that quick?
Yeah.
It's our fourth annual Running with the Beards 5K proceeds, 100% benefiting Phoenix Children's Hospital. We worked with them last several years. It's our fourth annual, which is wild. I'm expecting 300 or 400 people to show up. Cool. We're gonna have an after party with some booze, with some booth setups, some good food, some food trucks, a bunch of stuff. It's a family friendly event. So yeah, we've got kids, families, dogs. It's a run, walk, crawl, dance. You don't have to take it super competitive if you don't want to. Yeah. Or you can. It's up to you. It should be fun.
Awesome. I'm bringing my little 6-year-old.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, I love it.
I might get her like a little, I don't know, a wagon or something just in case.
Totally. Yeah.
Because she's not going to do a full 5K.
That's perfect. We have people bring strollers, wagons. It's literally just like, how do we show up, bring people together in community, locally, support a good organization, and just have a fun afternoon or a fun morning, I guess.
I want to ask you about this because I know we get this question damn near every day.
Yeah.
And it goes back to somebody listening to this probably thinking like, fuck, you do a lot of stuff, run a handful of businesses, you got a family, you got to right? And what advice would you give for the guy who's listening, who inevitably is going to comment on this podcast and say, I don't have that kind of time. Right. And I mean, I hear that almost every day where it's like, I'll tell somebody what I do with my day. They're like, I wish I had that much time. Yeah. It's like, well, we all have the same amount of time, but that's like, that's not good advice if we all have the same amount of time. Right. Because it's like, what kind of like tactical advice would you give to a guy who is on that? They've got the mindset enough to watch the podcast. Right. So they're they've got that far.
Yeah, you get started.
But it's like, fuck, you've got businesses, and this is just a regular guy living his life thinking like, fuck, I want to do more and be more, but like, I feel like I don't have the time to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. And to make it actionable, it's pretty simple to me. I think it's do a time study of how you're actually spending your time. I think it's easy for people to be like, I'm busy, I'm doing this. And it's like, okay, well, map it out on a calendar. And I used to not be a calendar guy until I realized you got to be a fucking calendar guy, right?
Yeah.
So now my day is set from literally 4 a.m. till at least 8 p.m. And it's like, I know exactly what I'm doing. I map it ahead of time and say, I need to work on this. I need to prep for this and do this. And I'll put it on my calendar, like thinking time, reading time. Like I'll map everything out. Or it's easy for shit to just come across and it's like, oh, I can do that later. But if it's on the calendar, it's like, now I'm living by it. So to your question, if somebody says, oh, I don't have the time, I would say do a time study of how you're spending your days. And as I'm sure there's apps for this. You can do it on just your calendar. Time block it. And for this 15 minutes, this is what I was doing. For this 30 minutes, this is what I was doing. For this, and you can actually reflect and look backwards and say, okay, I spent how much time on social media? I spent how much time on this, whatever, it's family time, but map all the personal things. Jesse Itzler, if you guys know who he is, like, I think he has a whole thing on this where it's like he maps out his entire calendar for the year ahead, including family time, including vacations, and like by the fucking, I think like minute almost, like the dude is savage. Do something like that where you're just mapping your time, doing an audit and saying, okay, what am I really doing and what can I cut? Because oftentimes I think you're going to fill your time with so many things, and like the work will fill the allotted time given for the project. So like give yourself shorter deadlines, like push yourself to drive harder and then just track the time. And I think you'd be surprised at how much you can get done and what you can find out.
Yeah.
So
I think the average
killer answer. Yeah.
I think average screen time right now is like 6 hours a day, which is fucking
6 hours.
insane. Yeah. Let me somebody's going to fact check me. Let me fact check myself.
Yeah. And while you're looking, like the other thing too, is like you have to prioritize. Like think about screen time. Like I don't have social media, so I save time there. I don't watch TV, so I save time there. Like if we're going to watch something every so often, maybe on the weekends, my wife and I watch something on Sundays or something, but like, I don't have time to just watch TV at the end of the night because I have big goals and I have a lot of people that rely on me and a lot of things I want to do. So cutting that shit out of your life will naturally free up some time. Again, say yes, say no.
Yeah.
The numbers
happens
are even
with
worse.
Money and everything. Like people are like, oh man, I don't have money for this and that. But it's like, well, dude, just audit how many Starbucks things you're buying. Audit all these convenience things.
Data.
Like, all the stuff.
The numbers are actually worse.
Worse than 6 hours?
Globally, the average screen time is 6 hours and 40 minutes. The United States is 7 hours and 3 minutes.
That's a full-time job.
Children ages 8 to 10, their average is 6 hours. 11 to 14 is 9 hours. Gen Z is 7 hours and 18 minutes. And teenagers, which are 41% of American teenagers are 13 to 18, spend more than 8 hours per day on screen. So it's over 7 hours is the average here in America.
Wow.
There's your answer.
Well, to everyone that has listened to our hour-long podcast,
thank you for listening. But how you spend that screen time is critically different. Because if you're spending that 6 hours consuming highly valuable content and you're trying to learn or solve a problem or learn a skill, that's a great exchange. I do that all day long. And to that point, it's like I listen to a book or a podcast on my phone for a couple hours a day. It's like, all right, is that considered screen time? Because if it is,
sure.
Okay, but it's highly valuable and intentional.
I don't think that's what they're counting.
Just like the scroll, dust scroll.
Yeah.
I think very small amount of people actually use that screen time effectively.
But if you are going to do it, this is where you're at listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and that's why I just want to thank you again for coming on, because this is what I want to deliver to people, like having guys on that are, leading by example, that are crushing it in life, crushing it in business, having great beards, and doing all the stuff. Like you're the kind of guy that I want more guys to know about and listen to, So I appreciate you coming on and sharing everything you have happening and going on. And I've been a customer and a fan of Live Bearded forever. That's never going to change. My man. And I wish you guys all the best.
Big fan of you guys. I think there's so much synergy and alignment. I think this is not the first time on here. We've always had some conversations. Definitely look forward to many more coming and seeing how we can just continue to align and help men be better and keep inspiring. Yeah, and you're super easy to find. You can literally just say Live Bearded into your phone. Live Bearded. And you'll find everything. You'll find us. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, thank you for listening to the episode. Go ahead and smash that button to subscribe to the Earn It All podcast. Leave us a comment. We'd love to hear what you think about what Spencer said, what Adam said, what I've said on this podcast. Good, bad, and ugly. Good, bad, and ugly. Yeah, I mean, especially we love the bad and ugly. That's how we grow. That's what we want. That's how we fucking grow. We need to hear it. It's kind of all I want. That's all I want. The good's cool, like vanity metrics, whatever. Feeds the algorithm too. I just want the opportunity to get better. 100%. Have to. Yeah. And if you found something valuable here, please just share this video with somebody you give a shit about, and we'll see you guys next week. So thank you, Spencer. Appreciate you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.